I would like to show you something that I noticed in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. I noticed this, I don't know, a couple months, maybe a year ago, probably a year ago. And it's funny how when you go back and read these scriptures, sometimes you find something that you might have missed or might have skipped over. So it's in Deuteronomy 28, verses 53 through 56. And the so-called Hebrew Israelites, they always take this scripture completely out of context. And to be honest with you, I don't think that they really comprehend what the scripture is actually saying. So they could be taking it out of context on ignorance. So let me go to Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Go to the scripture first that they don't have understanding on and take out of context. So let me go there. I have two Bible translations. I have the KJV on my left and I have the GNT on the right. I have a literal translation and a dynamic translation. Okay, so on my left side, verse 54 in the KJV, it says, "So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." So when the Hebrew Israelites, the fake Hebrew Israelites, when they read this scripture and say that this is the reason why black men hate each other so much, and this is why black men are killing each other so much and so forth, because this is supposedly a curse that black men in America have on them, that their eye is evil towards their brother. But if you read verse 53, and when I read verse 53 and then I read verse 54, I noticed that it's talking about that the men are not going to be willing to share the food in the siege. When the Babylonians sieged Jerusalem and the Israelites were eating their children, it's saying that the men are going to be so hungry and so greedy, and they're not going to want to share the food, the baby that they're eating. So we're going to start at verse 53 and read it in context now. It says, verse 53, "And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body." So that's an old English translation way of saying that you're going to eat your children. Your children is the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God had given thee in the siege, and in the strangeness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So you're going to be so desperate and stressed out and have nothing when the Babylonians seize Jerusalem, that you're going to eat your children. And verse 54, it further explains, it says, "So that the man that is tender among you," the man that is so nice and polite and, upright, that kind of person is going to be so much be in despair that he's going to eat his children and not share his children with his brother. He's going to have an evil eye in sharing the food with his brother. I'm going to finish reading. It says, "So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." So meaning that he's not going to even want to give his wife some of the food. The food is the baby. He's not even going to want to give the wife the food. He's not going to want to share the food with his wife, the baby that he's eating. It's cannibalism. And it says, and towards the remnant, meaning the rest of his children, which he shall leave. Meaning that the children that he didn't eat, the rest of his children that he didn't eat, he's not going to want to share the child that he's eating with them. He's going to hog all of the food, the baby for himself that he's eating. That's what that means. So now we're going to go on the right side and read verses 53 and 54 in the GNT translation, a dynamic translation, a paraphrase translation, a what else is called, a thought for thought translation. I forget sometimes. But anyway, verse 53, it says, when your enemies are besieging your towns and you will become so desperate for food that you will even eat the children that the Lord your God has given you. You see how plain and simple that is to understand? You see, this is why it's important to study the Bible like this. Literal translation, dynamic translation, and study it like that. So verse 53 in the GNT said exactly the same thing, just in a simplified way that it said in the KJV. It simplified it. Verse 54 out of the GNT. Go up a little bit. Even the most refined man of noble birth will become so desperate during the siege that he will eat some of his own children because he has no other food. He will not even give any to his brother or to his wife he loves or to any of his children who are left. See, it's same thing. We're doing a cross reference. It's the same thing. It just said it. It just said it in a more simplified way. So that's the part that they take out of context and that they misuse and, just butcher because, they ignorant. They don't understand. They probably just doing it out of ignorance. And verse